Holy shit. Old colonials. Take a picture.
Layla wants to see this over here.
All right, I'm coming.
I've never seen a cannon like this before.
That's all you saw in the Revolutionary War when you look at it.
Yeah, but nothing with that.
Oh, yeah. Sometimes they have two, one on each side.
I've never seen one with that. I used to be part of the second regiment under Sal Turner. I used to be one of the horse handlers.
This is a pretty faithful reproduction of the Rev War cannon. The British light 3-pounder.
Ah, British 3-pounder, okay. Oh, God, I recognize those uniforms. Yeah.
Probably at the Battle of Saratoga. It would have stayed in the colonial inventory at least until 1779. In 1779, General Washington ordered that all the gun carriages be painted sky blue to honor the fact that the French finally showed up.
I've never seen a cannon like this. Never. Huh? Okay, you got the guy. Yeah, this is fuse. There's a guy that cleans it out with one of these. Puts the charge in, ram it a little fuse, then it puts fuse in. Then they got a stick. Boom. Yeah, I smell the powder on it. It's been fired. Oh, you did? Oh, cool. Oh, yeah, we might. Everybody I know. That is cool. I've never seen one like that. That's a good idea, though, to put the handle on it, more leverage with it. That's, wow. Yeah. Wow. And my friend used to do those reenactments.
Torn from a world of tyrants beneath this western sky, we formed a new dominion, a land of liberty. The world shall own, we're masters here, then hasten on the day.
Pretty cool. Fireplace right in the middle of nowhere. Oh, double.
America.
Oh, I like this. Double fireplace,
Lift
yeah.
up your hands, ye heroes, and swear with proud disdain. The wretch that would ensnare you shall lay his snares in vain. Should Europe empty all her force, we'll meet her in array. And fight and shout and fight and shout for free America. God bless this maiden climate, and through her vast domain, may hosts of heroes cluster who scorn to wear a chain. Then guard your rights, Americans, nor stoop to lawless sway. Oppose, oppose,
You know what?
oppose,
Pretty
oppose
cheap.
for North America.
I love those. I know how to
They
fire one
shall
of those.
crown us the masters of the main. Our fleet shall speak
Fuck,
in
man, I
thunder
used to
to
fire 'em.
England, France, and Spain. And nations o'er the ocean spread shall tremble and obey. The sons, the sons, the sons, the sons of free America.
Yeah, that's a reproduction there. Flintlock. Neither can I. I'm like,
Nice. Everything.
oh, he's a doctor. Oh, that's what he is. He's one of the doctors.
Gangrene, yeah.
Yeah,
Look at it.
yeah, gangrene was bad, especially with the kind of musket balls they used.
People pass.
I mean, it shattered bone. There's like,
Sometimes, yeah, sometimes, but you know.
What do they do for pain afterwards? Have a shot of whiskey or something.
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, if you had it. If you had
yeah, definitely a shot of whiskey or something. We didn't have much,
You don't want to
really.
give the patient any alcohol before the procedure because it thins the blood. Yeah, so
What's the cayenne pepper for?
it's for the chest, for any
Put that in
inflammation.
your mouth so you won't choke and pass out and you start cutting it.
Cinnamon.
Well, I've actually seen bullets that people have bit down on.
They didn't inject nothing in you, they just take it right out
Used for,
and seal it back up, disinfect it. And you good to bandage it up.
They actually weren't good at disinfecting back then. That practice didn't come into like the late 1800s. I mean,
yeah.
they'd cut on one guy with this one knife. They'd use one knife on like 2 or 3 guys.
Disinfect them and move on to the next.
They actually didn't really know how to disinfect back then. It was.
Now get this, it was a procedure for venereal disease, right? So you take
What?
a few drops of mercury in boiling water and inhale the vapors.
Oh, good.
And not just once, but over a period of like weeks. Okay, do that.
Oh, lovely.
I think you'd be mad as a hatter by the end of the treatment. You know, I don't know what they were thinking, but the saying was a night with Venus, a lifetime with Mercury.
You know, I said that this whole, I mean, there's so many things that were legal that are totally illegal.
Well, now
Well, look at, they say they did the morphine back in the day.
this is opium.
That's opium?
Raw opium. So we didn't have access to a lot of raw opium because who controlled the opium trade? Guess what country controlled it? England. The East India Tea Company. They were mad at us for throwing their tea and all that stuff. So we got it from Thebes, Egypt, and that's why it's called therbasium. And I know the British in the British medical procedure, if you have a sore shoulder, opium. If you have stomach ache, opium. If your legs hurt, opium. And they must have been the most constipated army in the world. And opium really didn't. It just eased your nerves. It didn't really. Like for an operation, it wouldn't really do anything. Once that.
Good old Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
That was the cure. That cured anything.
That was cocaine.
Oh, you know, we're just full of
We don't
coke.
want
a little bit.
We don't want.
You feel really good after it.
We don't want an anxious patient, a more anxious patient. on the operating table, you know? Now this is a how to if you have if you hit in the head, crack your skull.
Oh.
Fluid started building up. You would I would have to drill a hole in your head, so I would use this.
Kind of like a wine bottle.
Yeah, I have it.
Oh, it's like a corkscrew.
Oh yeah, I see it right
Into
there.
your head.
Yeah. Right
This
there in
is
the
a
middle.
trepanning tool. So, first of all, I drag you over to a high back chair. Well, this is really hot. I'm sitting in the sun. High back chair, tie you up. You're unconscious. Okay. Shave you bald, and then I take my scalpel. Of course, I clean it off, and then I make an incision on your scalp.
And that would pull it
you're-
apart.
You're out.
Oh, you're out?
Unconscious.
And that you put in to pull it apart.
Yeah.
But
No, because
your
you're
scalp
unconscious.
apart.
You're hidden there.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
To do it quick.
Yeah. So if you ever see the show Master and Commander, it shows a trepanning operation. Anyway, my assistants would take their retractors, pull it back to expose the skull, and then I take my trepanning tool, which looks like something how to drill out a lock in a door.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
You spike it into the skull and just turn it. Until it gets free. Then you know you're not hitting the brain, you're hitting the dura. It's the membrane there. And now you take your scalpel, cut into the dura. All that fluid's gonna come out. Right. Now your patient starts to awaken. And then if you see that guy's picture, he's like,
Yeah, exactly. Raw dog.
so we
Can
got.
you give him the opium?
You drop your.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
So you would take, this is the wrong size coin, but you would take a silver or gold coin and put it in place of where that skull was, the skull was.
So that
About
stays
money
there
all the time.
permanently?
Oh, yeah. Otherwise you have a soft spot.
You always had money on you.
Ah,
Always thinking about money. And then you just suture it up
With the coin in there?
with the coin. Yeah, it has to be
So
silver or gold.
Yeah, the coin replaces the bone.
Right,
and that's because the body is allergic to it.
right. It's a pure metal. Right.
They used
I
to put
guess
a
you
lot
could
of
use
metal
lead,
plates
too.
in during the wars.
They still do.
But if they had coins, it's a nice circular thing.
My grandfather, great-grandfather, World War II, they put a metal plate in his head.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you know, very common.
Now, everybody know what this means. Right. It actually means to take. So if I say RX, that just means to take.
And TX is treatment.
Is it? I didn't know that. So here's what you got to understand. You know, it sounds bizarre, but in the 18th century, we didn't know germ theory. So it's the balance of the humors. So it's phlegm, black bile, blood, and yellow bile. So if you're balanced, you're disease free. But if you're unbalanced, you can either get an infection and get a fever. And so that therefore I have to bleed you. And if you look around there later on, you can see like what they did to poor George Washington. They bled about 7 pints of blood out of him and blistered him. Yeah, they did really. You know, warm soup and a warm bed, and he would have been fine.
Somebody lifted it all by hand.
Yeah, nothing's. mean, infection's gotta
By
be
hand.
the biggest thing.
I hope you're taking notes.
I'm taking pictures. They don't let her have sharps.
So, actually, was one thing in the 18th century that worked very well, which was inoculation for smallpox.
Maddie.
So they actually inoculated for smallpox.
With
So
a
what they would do
with
is,
a feather.
say you had a very mild case of smallpox, right? I would take one of the pustules out of there, take that fluid, put it in my pox jar. Get enough fluid in there, and then I would line up the soldiers, make a cut, dip it in, and put that fluid in each cut.
That's how they got their shots.
That's how they got it.
Wow.
And
So-
it works?
Yeah, out of
Smallpox.
100 soldiers, maybe 1 or 2 would die, as opposed to a wild variety, which 60% would die.
Wow.
So it's quite a difference.
Amazing what they come up with.
And then by the end of the 18th century, they realized cowpox do the same thing, and you don't get the death from it. You're resistant to smallpox now, and that's why by that time it wasn't called inoculation; it was called vaccine, because vaccine means from the cow.
Oh.
So when you get a vaccine, just
How about that room, huh?
Yeah, okay, well, the whole terminology
There you
has changed since COVID.
Oh yeah. Oh, we just
That's cool, huh?
Yeah, right.
Thank you very much, Tom. It was very good. That was good. Enjoy.
Thanks for teaching us.
You get an umbrella.
Look, hello. I know, it's rocky out here. Everyone had the Bible. Oh yeah, me too, dude. Me too. I always. Yeah. First thing I did was, bust through the Bible. Hey, how you doing? Have a look. All right. Oh yeah.
This is how they transported them.
Oh, okay.
They're called the Conestoga wagons. The wagons come from Pennsylvania, but everybody loved the style.
I do have a really cool one.
There was a curve to the wagon so that the weight wouldn't shift.
Yes.
The wagons were pulled by oxen and by horses. If you were horses pulling the wagon,
But my
the driver would sit on the left,
fish sailboat, like a totally modern sailboat.
and you would have a single rein.
So that's why you're that.
People think they held a different rein, but it was always a single rein.
That guy is sharp dressed, man. Wow.
The rein was attached to
You got the full uniform.
So if you wanted to turn to the left, you would give
Oh, yeah. Everybody's working here.
pull the rein.
No, actually, I definitely did because I got off in Holland.
They're all
Oh,
connected.
you were watching on Snapchat?
Right,
I got to go to Cape some rules in Holland.
horse did.
What?
Yeah. if you wanted to go right.
Oh, you hadn't left yet? No, I was up here. You were up here already. Yeah, because I stopped at Dunkin' Donuts. It stopped because I stopped at Dunkin'. Your dad always likes to say private Hesse.
Oh, wow. This Connecticut regiment.
And you'll meet it. Good. Will Hesse. I'm just like, okay, you've never been able to get my name right. My last name is Hees. Hees? How's it spelled? H-E-E-S. Like cheese and horse closest to it. And according to his dad, it's actually pronounced Hesse. Which, if you're in Germany, isn't terribly far off. The German pronunciation of my name is Hesse.
This is a poor
We're not in Germany. We don't speak German.
all the ways around.
What they use that for?
I don't remember.
The divorces?
This would be for This was very heavy.
Wrap it in flour.
What is that?
It's chocolate. That are equivalent to a chocolate cake.
Do you want me to help you recruit again? Okay, I'll be right over.
Nice uniform.
Thank you, sir.
What rank are you?
This is the uniform of a captain in the Royal Navy, or the navies of the time. It is much nicer than even the
Yes, it is.
being used on
Very nice.
the coats of
Yeah, the average soldier.
this is even officers in the armies would have had a nicer quality wool than the enlisted. This one is what's called a superfine. It's made of a much softer wool. You're all welcome to feel it.
You're okay.
Yeah, I'm looking. A friend of mine is here somewhere.
Oh, I didn't see it here.
Oh yeah, look at this. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. Spooky in here.
Or you want a clock tour?
Oh, there's a tour?
Yeah, so this is a tour.
Oh.
So do you have a ticket by any chance?
No, where do you find the ticket?
So, sorry. You can get them in the visitor center, which is that building right over there.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Have a nice day.
Yeah.
1:30.
1:30. Super duper. I got it. No problem. There we go. 1:30. Yeah.
We're 1:30. We got 6 hours.
Okay, that looks like a winning hand to me. All right. That's for all of you.
Aces and eights.
Okay, super duper. All right.
Aces and eights.
Oh, it's gonna be cool.
Maybe we got a.
Okay, so let's see how many we have here. And are you guys also here for the 1:30?
Yes.
All right. Let's take a look here. This could be.
What, night 52 degrees. It's nice.
Yeah, I gotta be with that.
I saw him in.
So much dance here, you're here, and goes on to the rim.
Yep.
Cannot run and walk.
Oh, is this looks like it might be something going on that's kind of nefarious here.
Yeah, I think at 2 o'clock you're supposed to do a break.
Okay, so you guys will be up by that time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Wow.
Yeah, one of my friends is a reenactor here. I can't find him.
Okay.
Jesus.
So we're going to be heading down there very, very shortly, and I'll make sure I get you guys up by
2 for the.
Yeah, so we'll kind of go around
For the
there with
prison break?
dispatch. We're not going to dawdle any places. We'll just kind of move right along. We'll get through 300 years of history in about 25 minutes.
Oh.
Yeah, that's quite a thing. We're going to be going into some places where it gets very low as 4 feet. We're going to scoot through those. No problem. We're going to be going into, it's going to be going down 75 feet below ground level in a big 100-yard loop. It takes us 25 minutes, so we're going to be going very slowly, obviously, from point to point. There's a lot of water in the system, a little bit too much water because of all the recent rain. There's going to be water coming through the ceilings, et cetera, et cetera.
Cool.
But we will be dealing with that. It's just the way it always is at Newgate, but only more so. There's a little bit of flooding, so that's going to prevent us from going everywhere we normally would want to go, but that is, again, you can take that up with Mother Nature. The other thing is, when we come back up out of here, we're going to want to put our feet on these 2 black mats. The first one contains isopropyl alcohol. That will be something that will kill whatever spores we track out of the mine that causes white nose syndrome in bats. We do this when we come up rather than when we go in. The second one does contain just plain water, and that will be to rinse off our feet, and that will take the alcohol off our feet. And then with that 1-2 regimen, we should be good to go. Now let me take one last look at my timepiece here to see what we're doing. And it looks like we should go right away. We're going to go down and we will see what we can find. All right, let's do it.
Have a good one. You too. All right.
Oh, jeez. Oh, this is fun. Jeez. Yeah, I thought mine shafts were supposed to be like,
This is a copper mine.
well, I know, but mine shafts are supposed to be like, not like this.
You might have been wanting to go in the back.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Okay, when we come down into this space, because we have such a large group, we're going to try to scoot over here so the people behind us can come into this place and not have to back up the stairwell. So we're just going to kind of scoot on over here a little bit. Yeah. There's 13 of us here, 14 counting myself, which is about as large a group as we get here. We top it off at 15. Looks like
Can't see nothing.
Any more coming?
14 or 15, I can't quite count. I'm not that good at that. I was not a math major in any way. So once I run out of fingers, then I get really at sea with the counting. Okay, so now we are in what was known back in the day as the Simsbury Copper Mine, so-called because this was a part of the once sprawling town of Simsbury, Connecticut, and it was remained part of Simsbury for many, many decades. It used to be known on maps as the Simsbury Copper Mines, et cetera, et cetera. The folks who came here Oh, that's the cannon. It represents the town of Simsbury in what was a communal enterprise of the 42 heads of household. Later on, it developed into a more kind of traditional kind of capitalist enterprise, but originally this was a communal enterprise of the town. The guys who came here would have been living in a very different environment. This would have been a primordial forest above our heads, and it would have been 3 miles from the nearest settlement. It was the complete boondocks, but it was also a well-known place for finding copper ore because even at that time, the folks would have known of a seam of copper ore that ran along the western side of the Metacomet Ridge, Talcott mountain system from Massachusetts all the way down to Long Island Sound. And at one time or another, there have been 40 different copper mines right along this point. And this is the oldest and the largest of those, and the only one that is still open to the public. So what we're going to do is we're going to, these folks are okay, they are, yeah, you can see that they are people who are presumably ghosts of people who used to be here a long time ago. All right, they're back.
We can see.
Yeah, that's good. All right, so they're okay. Now, so the folks who came here then would have had a pretty good idea that the copper was here because they would have stood along this hill and seen that row of cliffs across the way, and this would have been cluing them in. That is that water. Watch out for that water.
Yeah, there's water.
And one just hit me.
So they
One just hit
dug
me.
down an exploratory shaft of 35 feet, and then they encountered that copper ore.
Yeah.
This is the copper ore in question. It's called malachite. It is this green stuff you're seeing here. Now, this is a special kind of copper ore because malachite is always green. It doesn't need to oxidize to become green. It starts green, it stays green, and was easily recognized. Once the guys started seeing this stuff, they knew that they had found what they were looking for, and they could follow it down into the mountain. All of the stratigraphy around here goes down at a rate of 23 degrees from west to east. So too, therefore, does the mine. They're just removing that sliver of rock that allows them to access and extract that copper ore. They're not interested in anything else. Their methodology is blasting. They're using gunpowder to open up this space. Each of these semicircular indentations in the wall is the site of an explosion, which would have sounded a lot like you've been hearing just now. Now, what they would do is they would drill into the rock, create a hollow in which they could introduce gunpowder, then they would stick a wick in it, they would light it, they would run ammo. Okay. There's going to be a big explosion, and when the dust settles and the smoke clears, they're going to take that rubble out, and they're going to put it on the hill above our heads, and they're going to sort it out in nice bright sunshine to see what it is they have. The green stuff will be going off-site to be processed. The 99% that is not copper will remain behind. We've been walking on it all day long. That is what was the former contents of this tunnel that we're standing in. So they start here in the top, 1707, and they blast their way down this 23-degree slope. It takes them 5 years to go 300 feet, the length of a football field. Why? Because they're blasting their way through solid rock. And eventually they get to the water table at the depth of 80 feet. Once they get there, they can't go any further because they're not fish. So what they do instead is they dig a tunnel right along the top of the water table, and then they start to work their way back in this direction. So they go down, they go out, they go back, and then they go out of business because they find they're not making any money. And then the colony of Connecticut swoops in and decides to repurpose this space as a prison. And it is in this area where we're standing where all the magic happened. This was known as the lodging area, and there would have been 60 men living in this space, even more during the Revolution. Yes, indeed. Now, this would have seemed even more crowded in those days because this stairwell we came down did not exist. There would be a solid wall coming down from about where that exit sign is down to the floor, and you 4 or 5 people in the back would be encased in sandstone right now. Sorry. So this would have had a much more enclosed feel to it. There would have been 2 bunkhouses for the prisoners. One went along the north face of this enclosure. A second one went at right angles to it, tagging that wall over here, stretching from floor to ceiling, and effectively sealing off the mine from this place up here to which the prisoners had access. As an added measure of security, those prisoners would have been shackled in place for the 12 hours they spent down here every night. There was no light, there was no supervision, there were no sanitary facilities, there was no segregation of prisoners. We had folks as young as 14 years old who would have been considered adults in the eyes of the law, housed indiscriminately with hardened criminals in their 20s and 30s. This place would have been complete bedlam for the 12 hours that the prisoners were down here left to their own devices. As a result, this place acquired a very unsavory reputation, and deservedly so, and the criminal justice reform movement of its day put a great deal of pressure on the General Assembly down in Hartford to shut this place down, which they did after 54 years.
Cool.
And then it went back to being a mine once again. Okay, so do we have any questions before we plunge ever deeper into the mine?
Was there anything other than copper in here? Because I went gem mining in a cave like this, and every time I see rocks with the veins in it, it reminds me of like
there's
precious
two different
minerals
kinds of stuff
inside there.
that they would have been familiar with. There was a little bit of silver in here, which they were aware of, but there was an insufficient quantity to mine in their estimation. There was also some hematite, which is a kind of iron ore, and again, they felt it wasn't here in sufficient quantity to make use of, so they stuck to the copper, but they were not unaware of the silver or the iron. Okay.
I found a pocket of garnets inside a mine like this. I was able to
This is, so this is sandstone. It's very little in the way of that sort of thing. That's more something you might find in a limestone cavity or something like that. What we see here is this seam of malachite stretching off into the distance. We can see quite easily they could not, because they did not have LED flashlights. You can see they are drilling and blasting as they go.
Yeah.
They will utilize fractures wherever possible. Like here, this is going to not only make their drilling easier, but it's also going to make their explosions more efficacious. We're also going to begin to see places where the holes are still intact. Those indicate explosions that have yet to occur. And we might hear one a little bit later on. Here we can see them drilling and blasting as they go at regular intervals, just peeling off this rock wall, and then they will remove it. So they drill and blast, out it comes, then they remove it, evaluate it, and so on and so forth, as we've already described. You can see these nice drill marks. They will be, again, utilizing fractures wherever possible.
Yeah, I know.
3 different drill marks.
Yeah, it throws your balance off.
Down this fracture here. And when they get to the depth of 2 feet, as in here, that is going to be the most efficacious depth for blasting, because that will maximize the yield of the black powder. Any more than that would be diminishing returns, which would be a poor use of the black powder, which would have been fabulously expensive. So they're not going to do that. Here we can see another fracture, and they've drilled into that. They've got a ways to go. That only goes in about 5 inches. Here is another one here. This only goes in about 3 inches. So what they do, they take their star drill right here, they take them out in the other, they pound and twist, pound and twist, pound and twist until they have gotten in a full 2 feet, and then they'll be ready to go. Wow. We can see here, this is an exactly a perfect example of what they would do and why they would do it. So here's a fracture right here. They're going to drill into that, and bam-o, out it comes. And now they have a new surface to work with, and they're going to drill into it again and again.
Yeah, there you go.
Utilizing fractures wherever possible. This is the original 1755 surface. When they come back here 75 later in 1830, they are going to be in a far more technologically sophisticated era. They can do things they couldn't do before. One of the things they can do is they can analyze the ore in situ down here, using chemical reagents. They don't need to take it up and out to evaluate it. It can all be done right here, saving themselves a tremendous amount of labor. The balls and strikes are called right here. The good stuff goes up. The stuff that is not sufficiently coppery will remain behind. Whenever you see big piles of mine tailings down here like this stuff, you know you're dealing with post-prison mining operations. Here's another one of those nifty drill marks, and again, it is 2 feet long, which is, of course, what you'd expect. Now, as far as the mine timbering goes, they like to use chestnut. You can let these ghosts just pass along there. Pretend you don't see them. Yeah, Happy Halloween. I see nothing, I hear nothing, I know nothing, nothing. Okay. Sergeant Schultz here.
I know nothing.
So, yes, that's right. Don't cough. Yeah, so we are, we're in Stalag 13. No, we're in Newgate Prison. So these are chestnut. Chestnuts is the go-to timbering that the miners like to use because it was so strong, so impervious to damp, and it was ubiquitous. It would be all over the hill above our heads. This is going to be a no-brainer. That's what they're going to be using to timber this place. In the state is going to be using southern yellow pine because there are no more chestnuts, but they are repurposed telephone poles, waste not, want not.
There you go.
And as we come onto here, we want to watch our heads. It's going to get a little bit low.
I'm short.
Yeah, I'm short. Oh, what we got here?
We're just going to hang out around here, the well here for a moment. Now, you know, the folks that we just saw, I mean, I'm going to be seeing them in my sleep tonight when I'm trying to sleep. Think about the ghosts flitting around Newgate Prison that I saw.
Yeah, there's the well right there.
It's going to be very, very scary, very difficult to get to sleep tonight. Okay, now we are in the vicinity of the well. That well was dug in 1776 because of the influx of prisoners who are coming here that are associated with the American Revolution. The prison population is increasing dramatically because of the induction of new types of prisoners, what we would call Tories or Loyalists, depending on your political point of view. So these folks are loyal to the king, and that is a big no-no in Connecticut, and it is an imprisonable offense. The folks who are coming here are either enemy combatants or people who are here only for their political views, but that was enough to get you sent to prison. Also, they're going to send folks here from the Continental Army who had been court-martialed. General Washington begins to send them here as early as 1775 to what he terms the Simsbury copper mines, which is, of course, right here. Flagrant and notorious villains who can be by no means set at liberty. His words, not mine.
Wow.
Presumably because he couldn't think of a better place to put them, which I'll take as a kind of a backhanded compliment. So we are going to work our way down here and hope we do not see any more ghosts, because I am getting pretty scared of all these people going around there in 18th century garb, flitting about there.
You good? As we come down here, yeah, you go. Yeah, you wait.
Nice drill marks as they're coming in through these areas here, drilling and blasting as they go. They can see this nice green copper ore, which is what they are trying to exploit and extract. And off into the distance, what do we see? Is lots and lots of this nice green copper ore off in the distance. Now, closer at hand, you see the mine buildings related to it. Some of which
wow, this is crazy.
Just take your time.
I know, I threw on my balance off quite a lot. Shit.
Where they're blasting this stuff out, turning it into rubble, and then eventually they will remove it. You can see some more of these nifty chestnut logs placed here in your
We're moving.
Again, copper here, indicating we're dealing with the mine, but over here, there is no copper, so we know we're dealing with the prison. This is in fact an escape tunnel that is being dug by two prisoners named Daniel Humphreys and William Crawford on the night of April 5th, 1774. As they are digging their way up there, they cause an avalanche of stones to come down upon themselves. And it's the belief of the state authorities who pay my salary, as well as being the testimony of their fellow prisoners at the resulting inquest, that these gentlemen in fact still reside there under the rocks at the foot of that tunnel. Their bodies have not been recovered.
Whoa.
And as we come down here, we are seeing some more of these old we see that the copper itself is getting better. The further we come down here, there's both more copper, and the copper is getting more concentrated. So in quality and quantity improves the further you come down to the east, and this is something that would not have escaped the notice of the miners themselves. It is drawing them on further and further into here, we can see this nice band of top floor. Here's some of that hematite that I was talking about earlier. And then there's a series of drill marks going up and down that fracture. 5 in all, you can see the impressive discharge of it, which would have looked something like a Phillips head screwdriver on steroids. We're going to watch our heads here. As we come into this area, we have come to the water table. Now, the water table hereabouts is 80 feet below ground level, and that is the end of the line for the original miners. They did not have the technological capability of working beyond this point in any cost-effective manner. However, the later miners did, because they had more advanced technology. They had steam pumps which allow them to remove the water without effort. They had steam drills that would allow them to drill into the rock without effort. They have entered the age of power tools, 1830 style. In addition, they also have newfangled conveniences like lighters and matches, which had been invented within the past decade to make it easier for them to do their thing. Also, they had safety fuses, which were patented in 1828 and were manufactured on site by the Ensign Bickford Explosives Company that is still located in Simsbury, and the Phoenix Mining Company, which was in this place, was a subsidiary of them. So they would ultimately be the owners of this place. We want to watch our heads as we come down through here.
I want to get electricity in here.
Well, they got all kinds of like tubes here for the electricity. Yeah, they got metal conduit attached to the ceiling.
See the water right there.
Yeah.
Ooh wee.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Oh boy, this plays with you. Holy shit.
We stop going up.
Hey, everybody, watch your head.
Go right to the rocks. Yeah, the microscopic organ rock. Big shower.
Okay, watch your head.
So when those folks got here in 1712, after 5 years of blasting, they're confronted by the water table. They can't go any further in this direction, so they have to go in this direction. So this is where they turn around. They spread out along the top. They create a 300-foot long axis tunnel that goes north and south, and now they start to hollow out the mountain going back in the direction whence they came. And so this is how they're going to be going about it. However, once they get to this place, they need to resolve a couple of problems or they're not going to be doing anything at all. Wow. And that is that they have to deal with the lack of oxygen and the excess of water. And the thing about it is that the further they come in this direction, the more they are running low on oxygen. If you think about it for a moment, they've now come 335 feet from their point of entry into the ground. The further they come in this direction, the less oxygen is available to them. There would have been 30 guys here, which is like us times 2, plus their lamps, plus their gunpowder. All of this is requiring oxygen. And every step they go in this direction, there is less and less of it. In addition to that, the other problem is there's too much water, because now that they've come to the water table, the water that comes in afterwards is going to build up like a bathtub. The water table is not like the water is going to sink into it. It is going to be like a concrete floor. Any new water that comes into the system, like rainfall, snow melt, whatever, is going to back up on top of that. And so they found that they have built themselves a 300-foot bathtub. Okay? And now they need to put the drain in it. And here it is. So what they do is they start to dig this tunnel, which is 300 feet long and 3.5 feet in diameter, down its entire length, constructed entirely with hand tools. They're going to be down there in the water on their knees, swinging picks. And they're working their way off to the west, which is the only direction they can go, where the land is actually lower than it is here, because remember, we are 75 feet above ground level. Now, eventually, they will break out into the valley below, the water will flow out, and the air will flow in, and they're very excited about that. If it weren't for this tunnel, you and I would be underwater right now. Now, yes indeed. They're so excited they dig themselves another tunnel, which is this guy here, and they want these two tunnels to work together. And the way that they do that is to line these tunnels up. But in order to do that, they have to make sure that they are lined up exactly, and there's only two ways to do that. One is they could dig it from the bottom up, where they can visually reference the location of this tunnel, but of course, that is too easy, okay? So they're gonna do it the other way around. They're gonna dig it from the top down, where they can't see this, and they have to cite it with trigonometry. So with some high school math and a paper and pencil, they work out exactly where to put this tunnel. They start digging down through 75 feet of rock. They break through the ceiling, and wouldn't you know, they get it exactly right. My goodness. Okay, 1712. Now, so what they've created is convection, where air enters at a low point and exits at a high point in a continuous circular flow, solving their air quality problems. It also happens to be the perfect place for a second ore shaft, because like the drainage tunnel, it is also at the middle of the bottom of the mine. And if we think about it for a moment, this is important because everything can be gathered here with gravity assistance. Prior to this, everything had to be dragged up 300 feet up a 23-degree slope and up and out the other tunnel, which would have been a nightmare. Now they're going to be able to lift it mechanically and vertically from the bottom of the mine by means of a capstan or a windlass, which is essentially a ratchet set on steroids and operated by a donkey. Okay? The donkey's going to walk around and around in a circle, and he's going to keep 4 buckets in motion that are suspended from pulleys. 2 buckets in this ore shaft and 2 buckets in the ore shaft at the other end of the mine. 1 bucket will be down here being filled as the other one is at the top being empty. Then the full bucket will rise as the empty bucket descends, and they'll go like this and like this and like this all day long. At the same time, he's got 2 other buckets doing the exact same thing in the other ore shaft. By keeping these 4 buckets in continuous and constant motion, that donkey is very efficiently removing the material from this mine. Again, the year 1712. What? Now, we are standing 75 feet under Newgate Road. It is going on a north-south axis right above the tunnel in which we are standing. If we come up this staircase, yes. If we come up this staircase, we're coming directly under the front gate of the prison, which is right about there. When we get up to the landing, we're back inside the prison walls. We can check out this nifty green copper ore. Those dark green patches, the geologists tell me, are 40% copper, which is quite good. Now, what we see here is this tunnel. We were talking about it earlier. We know 2 things right away. It's a cylinder, so we know that using hand tools, and you can see from the tooling marks themselves the direction which they are working, right to the point where they break through the ceiling. On the other hand, if you want to see a tunnel that is excavated with gunpowder, it looks like this. It's going to be completely chaotic, random, irregular, just crazy, but it is a lot easier to dig this way, so 95% of their activity is going to be done with gunpowder rather than with hand tools. Don't work harder, work smarter. Okay. And as we come up here, we're following the seam of copper up and out along with the miners. They're now drilling and blasting their way from uphill. Shit.
Okay, on the stairway. Please.
Wherever possible, they would try to leave a column of stone in place. This would provide stability for the mine. They would just write off that copper as the cost of doing business. But if they removed too much material, which they very often did, they would have recourse to these chestnut logs, which they would place here and there wherever they felt they needed to, spanning the gap between the floor and the ceiling. They would drop them down the ore shafts and wedge them in place here and there to provide that structural stability that they felt they needed. And here's another example, and you can see that they've wedged it in and shimmed it up to make it nice and snug against that ceiling. As we come along here, we'll see other examples of that. For example, this fellow right here, he's been here for about 310 years in that place. And his body over here, and you can see them shimmed up just the way the state does it nowadays. Same methodology. And as we come along here, we want to watch our step because it's very uneven.
Wow, look at that here.
Certainly not thinking about us. Off in the distance, we see another tunnel in its early stages of development. That tunnel is a mere 2 feet high, which means they are going in there on their stomachs, face first against that seam of copper ore, drilling and blasting as they go. They would have had ropes tied around their ankles so that the guys behind them could fish them out in case they got themselves into trouble. Kind of like an early version of life insurance. And there it is. So they would have gone up and around the corner and out of our field of view, disappearing into there towards the west there. Here are lots of Americans things to get out of here very soon. Okay, now I'm going to go down 50 kilometers. And there's the stairs that they are, that nice soft sandstone, all those years ago, softened by the passage of 3 centuries of foot traffic. Let's not let you miss that escape. I didn't even know what happened. I had a 6 cents about it. This is the escape. Some interrogation going on now.
Think of 3 and left. Think of maybe 3 and right.
There you go.
We're out of here.
I stepped through that.
That's good. I like that.
Oh, yeah, they are interrogating the prisoner right now.
I'll tell you. There's that man right there. Guard, you see him there with the glasses? Bring the family forward. Stop. Unbelievable. Come on, step forward, please. And the key. Step forward, let's examine the family. Step forward if you love this man and his dad. You'll stand by him. If the marriage was in a rough shape, then you can sit there. But if you love him, come forward. Children, come on forward. Lieutenant, you want to drill this man before I lose my temper? How could you help this man? Smuggling in the key? How'd you get the key? Where's the other one? Where is it? Sergeant. We have a key. I know you'll deny all. Right? That's how we your mother told you. You'll deny this. We have a key. That's enough. That's certainly enough. We have a map. A map. Can you read that? Give me, correct?
I wouldn't trust, sir, that he can read. I told you.
He denies it. Oh, how to break your friend out of an 18th century prison by M.T. Pockets. Very good. Well, I think that's damning. What do we do with this man? His accomplice. We must have paid him. Throw them both in the mine. And what do we do with him? What do we do with him? What do we do? To the mines! To the mines! I'll not go back! back to those mines.
Come Joe, what do we do with that? I don't dare ask his wife. What do we do with your father? Prison? That's the wrong answer. What do we do with this man? I think a temporary solitude would be fine if we do. Well, look what we found on him, helping this prisoner. Lieutenant, what do you suggest? Put it to
Lock him in the mine.
Put it to the crowd?
Let's give them the crowd involved, boys. What do you guys think we should do with this man? Thank you. I know. I like you.
No. That's a waste of resources. Waste of resources.
Let's do this like Boyd's call. The prisoner's going back.
This is why you're
Marine's going back. That's for sure. This citizen, who was one of yours, is no longer one of our citizens, good citizens in standing. How many believe he should just be slapped on the wrist after all this evidence and released? Just a voice. A or nay?
Nay.
How many think he should be released completely? Nay! Private Ogden, grab the man, his family, he's off. He goes. Private Carter, grab the man. Down you go. Anyone wants to follow the line? Agree with him. Who is this man? This is just dropped off at the front gate for you.
What is this? It was corresponded by the woman in a black tank top.
Ooh.
I don't know if it was
What is a tank top?
Order of Colonel Gardner of His Majesty's 54th Regiment of Foot, you are hereby ordered to release the prisoner who is fully enlisted private in His Majesty's King George III's army.
I smell another bride!
I smell lies!
What do you say?
I say it's bomb fodder.
You have your order. There's nothing but trouble.
Lieutenant, you have your order. Who thinks this is forgery?
It's a forgery. Take it to the judge cells. That's it.
I don't see no you have to leave. Rush, you release me. Right into the cell. Take this man as well. Get this man.
Grab this man.
I know my rights. I know my rights.
Yeah, he's wearing that shirt. Put him in there.
Very good.
Anyone else want to defy the authority of the Congress?
God save the king! God save the king!
Uh-oh.
We're running out of cells.
We'll let you off with a warning. Only because we're out of room.
Folks, we thank you all for participating. We hope you stay a little bit longer. Sergeant of the Guard disappeared. He's lost. Who? Sergeant of the Guard, well done.
Prisoner doesn't want to come out. It's nice and cool in there.
Yeah.
Do we have some script for the young kids? Carter, can you go on that desk?
That's cool.